being ridiculous. He's a professional football player.
No, look, I'm not talking about killing the guy. I'm just talking about going up there with a group of dudes and intimidate him, maybe break his arm.
You can't break Tom Brady's arm.
Oh, yes, I can. No more Super Bowls for that pretty boy.
Listen.
Robert better not get in my face, because I'll drop that mother.
What did you say? What the f*** did you just say?
Bomarowski to the near side.
What are you, a fucking lunatic? You and your mom are hillbillies. This is a house of learned doctors.
I respect him as a coach, but I'll be damned if I allow someone to,
But I'm gonna kick you repeatedly in the balls.
You got long balls, man. Long balls. You got long-ass balls.
You can't pick
What
off.
should I not You know exactly what you've done, sir.
It's bullshit. I'll say it again. It's bullshit.
Nah, I'm just pissed off.
Let me tell you something with absolute honesty and concern for your well-being. Tom Brady would kick your ass.
You know, I was rude and inappropriate, and, I just want to say I apologize.
I'm sorry that anybody could be offended by something that we were just having fun with, and I enjoyed it, and we're going to continue to do it.
All right, everybody, welcome to yet another episode of the Ricky Williams Trilogy. This time the trilogy is down one. We're not going to have the Moose, but today we do have the Duke and, of course, Jon B. Eazy. Duke, how you doing?
Doing well, my friend. How about yourself?
Doing great, man. Just coming off the All-Star weekend in the NBA. There was a lot of, bells and whistles. We had a chance to have a great celebrity basketball game. There was also the Rising Stars where Kuzma got the MVP. Mainly he was doing it, he claims, so that he can get a little extra money in his pocket. I ain't hating him for that. Also, during the weekend, they crowned a new three-point champion, happened to be a white man by the name of Josh Allen. Is that right? Dang. Now I'm like, shame on me for not knowing this man's name. And he
Josh
actually
Allen, the QB for Buffalo. Wow, they at least he can fucking do something.
That's awful. That is terrible. I should be ashamed of myself. We literally were just talking about him, and that's probably why I said Josh Allen. But let's see here. 3-point contest winner. We'll figure that out. The 3-point contest. Oh, Joe Harris, not even close. Joe Harris of the Brooklyn Nets, he won it. He beat out Curry. Little Steph Curry was trying to win the 3-point championship again, which was actually probably hard for him because he was actually close to the 3-point line, which is not at all how he plays the game. He's usually like a good 5 to 10 feet behind the 3-point line every time he takes a three. So, he was able to Joe Harris was able to defeat him and take home the crown for all of the white 3-point shooters out there. He did it for J.J. Redick. Also, during that, there's the skills competition won by Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics. But what's really important, everybody, was there was a dunk competition. A new ultimate dunker was crowned. This gentleman plays for the OKC Thunder with a vertical leap, I believe they said, of 4 feet. Now, I'm not exactly sure if that is true, but he was able to jump over Shaquille O'Neal, and that's pretty impossible to do, seeing as that's like a pretty big dude. He's like 7 feet tall plus, but
we all know that Shaq has dropped some height since he gotten older.
Well, yeah, he got a little smaller. He's got a little smaller. But I think it's Dalio is his last name. He won it for OKC. And, I mean, he had a Superman shirt on underneath. I mean, he really did it big, dude. He also did the honey dip, the Vince Carter move. I mean, Vince Carter, he should have been allowed to be in the dunk competition. I don't care if he's 42 years old and his knees were all going to shatter from doing it. He should have been in it.
Dude, because if that was his last dunk ever, it would have been the most beautiful thing, man, to go out like that. I'd
love it if Shaq came out again and Vince Carter jumped over him and did the honey dip. That would have been amazing, dude. But it all ultimately came down to the All-Star game. Very high-scoring affair. Not the highest All-Star game in history, but there's still a lot of points scored.
How much was it?
Oh gosh, I want to say it was like 160 something to 150 something. So the record was, well, yeah, the record's still like 190 something. So they weren't close. They didn't actually get close to the record. It looked like they were on pace because at halftime it was like 90 to 80. But yeah, so pretty much Team LeBron James was able to come back on Team Giannis. Team Giannis was winning the whole time. Giannis was getting, fed underneath, and there's no defense, so they were letting him just have a dunk fest for most of the first half. In the second half, everybody decided to play a little bit of basketball, a little bit of defense, so things slowed down a little bit, and those dunks weren't just happening like they were in the beginning. So pretty much it slowed up, and LeBron's team was able to capitalize and actually win the game. I mean, LeBron did have the better players when you really look at the roster and what their abilities were. But I mean, again, it's all stars. They're all the best players. But it was just, when it came down to like all the people who hit clutch shots, they seemed to be on LeBron James's team. So like they were just hitting threes galore near the end.
See how you say that though? Like everybody was making clutch shots on LeBron James's team, except LeBron, because he doesn't want the ball.
Well, that's not what he's built to do. He's not the clutch shooter, but he put them all on his team. He put literally each and every one of the clutch shooters on his team, and they were just draining madness, dude. I mean, Giannis had on his team all of the scorers, if you will. I mean, he did have one clutch shooter with Curry, but I mean, that's just one, you need more than that. I mean, on LeBron's team, he had Durant. I mean, come on, dude. He also had Klay Thompson. He had two major 3-point shooters for the Warriors right there. Not to mention he had Kyrie on his team. I mean, he just made sure he had a bunch of people who could seal the deal, and that's great. He did the job. They did the deed. They won the game, which I expected them to do. So, and I think they even covered the spread. So, if you had bet on LeBron James, y'all, you made money.
Oh, yeah, he covered the spread. Hell yeah, dude. So that's fucked up, dude. Like 160-something points, man. What is this, man? Globetrotters? I mean, come on.
I mean, it's the All-Star game, and it's understood that no one does anything at all in the beginning of the All-Star game as far as defense is concerned. You're not really playing any real defense at all until the last maybe 4 minutes. But even still, the defense is mostly like, hey, we're just going to be kind of in your way, but we're not going to try to lock you down, I mean, Dirk was taking 3-point shots that were near half court, mainly because he couldn't run any further across the court. So he was just tossing up, and he made them, though. That's what was crazy. He was literally making shots from half court because he wasn't going no further. He was like, well, that's it, man. I at least made it. Like, he was literally running from, maybe the 3-point line to the other 3-point line. But he wouldn't even go that far. He was literally hovering around half court. That's where Dirk was hanging out. He was like, I'm going from half court to half court.
That's awful, dude. That's awful. There's old men out there doing that.
Well, he hasn't announced a retirement. They brought in Dwayne Wade and Dirk because they're like, well, this is going to be, their last time to shine, their last All-Star game. But, Dirk has not said anything about an official retirement, Should he retire? Yeah, because he could barely walk. Like when they showed him during the 3-point competition, when he walked out on the stage, Duke, he could barely walk out onto the stage. I don't know how that man is playing basketball if he can barely physically walk. But
a lot of painkillers, my friend.
Well, yeah. Of course, and he's probably got scientific gurus who are keeping his legs alive, as best they can. They're like, if you put in this, shot of ginseng right into your, I don't know, nasal cavity. Somehow it'll get down to your legs. I mean, you know how they are. I mean, it's crazy. But either way, they were able to, I guess, keep his legs going long enough for him to get through the All-Star game. But, I mean, we all know Dallas probably isn't going to get anywhere in the playoffs. Hell, they probably won't get to the playoffs, so he's not even have to worry about any postseason play. he really should retire after this year. But again, there's nothing that says that he has made that decision.
And you know, man, how hard it is not to make the NBA playoffs. You had to really be tanking.
Right. Well, it looks like the Lakers are going to have a hard time making it to the playoffs, and they have LeBron James, which is really pitiful. I mean, a lot of it's egos and children behavior.
Is it just me, or does it look LeBron put some pounds on, man?
Well, he's always putting pounds on. The man is literally
fat, dude. Not beefy. Looks a little slow. Looks a little pudgy, dude.
I don't think there's any pudginess on that man at all. I mean, if anything, he might have gained some weight while he had his sore groin. He might have, because he was sitting around drinking a lot of wine. And I don't think wine is supposed to give you a bunch of, added weight. But, I mean, there is sugar in wine. And if he's just pounding it, I mean, maybe he's getting a little extra on the body. But LeBron James doesn't do anything, Duke, until it becomes this point in time in the season. So if he has any extra weight anyway, he's going to shred it off because he's going to go hard. This is when the season starts for him.
Well, at his age, maybe. People have been calling it a demise for like Tom Brady, but until it happens, man.
Right. Well, I just don't think people really sit down and look. First off, his numbers are still good. I mean, the man is still averaging nearly a triple-double every game, and they're talking about his numbers are slipping. You can go kiss my ass, all right? That is not numbers that are slipping when you're hitting triple-double numbers on a regular basis. But other than that, dude, I just don't understand how people haven't figured out when LeBron James starts playing basketball. He does it every year. Every year, he waits until after the All-Star break, and he decides to now start playing some real basketball. They act like, every year they're like, oh, the Cavs are struggling. What are they going to do? They're going to have to make some trades. They make some trades that are just whatever. It doesn't really mean anything because all it really means is that LeBron James got his way, he turned it on, and now they made it to the playoffs. The Lakers tried to give LeBron his way. Things didn't work out. They're like, but we tried, LeBron, so please still try for us. So he'll decide if he wants to actually play any real basketball for the rest of the season. And he probably will because he's a gamesman, he's a showman, and plus Space Jam 2 is coming out soon, and people ain't coming to see a movie of a loser. So he better get it together.
When's that movie coming out, man?
I don't know. They haven't made any real announcement on it, but I assume that's what he was doing the whole time he had a quote-unquote sore groin. He was probably just filming all the shots in which he didn't have to play any basketball. And then all the basketball stuff, he'll just do that when the season's, coming close to an end.
So was the injury even real? Or, because we all know LeBron takes time off, man.
Look, dude, was the injury real? Maybe. Was it as real as they made it seem to be? Probably not. No one's groin keeps them out for nearly 2 months. You're junking that tender. You're an athlete.
Dude. We got wide receivers that pull groins and hamstrings. If I can get out of that every single week.
Right, dude. Right. I know maybe this was his first time really kind of being injured, quote unquote. So maybe he was trying to take it slow. But you ain't got to take it that slow. I mean, you basically me and this girl have been going steady since the 4th grade, and I finally decided to propose to her at age 40. That's how slow he was going with this, man. It's you ain't got to go that slow if y'all been steady since grade school. Come on. You could pull the trigger. And that's basically what he was doing, man. He was just I don't know, maybe my groin, it still hurts a little bit. It's well, yeah, it's going to be sore for a little while, man. You hurt something, but you can probably play through the pain, which is something they've said to a lot of people,
Speaking of good old LeBron, his good friend that he said he would kneel with, which, he actually doesn't kneel because of that groin. Colin Kaepernick got paid this week, buddy.
Yeah, he did. Colin finally got his money. Now, the situation was very shady. I don't know if you got all the details, Duke. I mean, I don't know if I even got all the details, but I did get a lot of information in which there was an envelope that was sealed, and only the parties involved truly know how much the settlement was and what the settlement was for. Now, if the NFL is giving out any kind of settlement at all to Harris and Kaepernick, they're guilty. I mean, they're guilty of whatever they've been doing, because you aren't going to just give a settlement to somebody just because. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, they don't want to drag things out in court. Well, you know what? The NFL don't really have anything else to do, so why not drag it out in court unless it looks like things ain't going your way? So since things didn't look they were going their way, they decided, well, let's cut our losses and give Kaepernick some money as well as Harris. And I'm going to guess they probably got somewhere in the $10+ million range. It's enough for them, because that's got to be enough for them to be quiet and go off and just kind of have some money. I don't know. I would assume it's going to be more, just because they know how much money the NFL has. So I'm going to guess probably they each got about $20 million, maybe $25 million each, to be like a $50 million settlement. And that's probably what happened. That's probably what went down.
Well, to me, man, this is the most interesting thing too, because it's very strategic. NFL don't like to go to court because they don't want to have no bad image on them. So they look like Colin Kaepernick took the hush money and was like, "Hey, here you go, buddy. Go away now." But yet, it's like now it makes Colin look like a bad guy because he should have fought it, because if he were guilty, because he got more money out of him and like totally like bought a team.
Well, see, that's not how that works, though, man. That's not how that works. Like, literally, no one wants to get to the court being actually in court. Nobody really wants that. So if there was a good enough settlement put out there, because if the NFL took that to court and lost, it would look really bad on the NFL.
Oh, I know, man. I would love to see that.
And they probably knew they could get enough money together to be a settlement to stop this from happening and dragging their good name through the mud.
But that's pocket change, man. Because here's the deal. Yeah, they're claiming that, he got lost for wages, right? Because the time that he was in a league, which was what, like 2-3 years?
Mm-hmm.
So what does the average quarterback get paid now? Is it $10 million a year? Like if you combine everybody together, it's about $10 million, something like that.
I mean, if we're going straight average of every NFL player.
Yeah, just say quarterback, yeah. So
you mean starter or just any? I mean, if you're talking about any player, then it's probably closer to $7 million. That's what I'm saying. Like, it probably was like a settlement of $20 to $25 million, where it's like, we'll pay you, but we're not paying you like starting quarterback rate. You'll just get paid average player rate or something.
We'll just say $10 million. So they got like 30. He got $30 million, and say Reed got another 30. Yeah, right, 50, 60 million. I mean, that's change. That's nothing.
That's what I'm saying. They could easily take that hit.
Yeah, I mean, that's just. I mean, like that's what like fucking the loose change in the fucking owners' couches. Hey, here we go. It's the fucking $30 million call. Get the fuck out.
Right. So they can still keep their little, gentleman's agreement of blacklisting him, and they gave him enough money for him to get out of their face. And it's like, here, you can live off this. And then, because they're like, there's no guarantee you'll win, and if you don't win, you don't get anything. Knowing good and well that the NFL is probably going to lose this and probably have their name dragged through the mud for being some sort of, league of collusion, which they are. Because, I mean, how is there still no black owners? And how is there still, like, so few black head coaches? But still.
Hey, man, I see Singletary back, man. He was a good coach. Well, because, it's like, to be honest, though, man, with the black coaches there, man, it's just fucking hard to coach, dude. I mean, nobody's going to save the Browns.
I'm not saying it isn't, dude, but the leniency on one side is a lot more than the leniency on the other.
But, like, if you look at, I know, but really, I don't know, man, because, like,
okay, my first example is Jason Garrett, dude. Jason Garrett went years without winning games.
And Jason Garrett's a hack, dude. Because
I'm just saying, he went years without winning games. Do you know any black coaches that could just go years without winning games and
Marvin Lewis.
Huh?
Marvin Lewis.
But he had winning seasons before he became garbage, okay? So he had to have a platform to go to first, and then he could be bad.
I understand, man, but I'm saying, like, what really comes down to is the ownership trickling down, man, because the ownership is going to look for good coaches and give that coach a chance to succeed. Because there's been good coaches that go to one team that shit the bed, but go to another team because they just got a better situation, And Jim Irsay, that Browns coach, is horrible. Fucking horrible, dude. He just needs to give that team up. definitely need to get away from him, dude. Because I mean, Hugh Jackson wasn't that bad of a coach, dude. But it's like,
well, there was turmoil, there was unrest, and Baker Mayfield didn't like him. So,
dude, the whole Baker, he needs to grow the fuck up, man. But
he shouldn't be given the keys to the Ferrari if he's 15 years old. Like, why are you giving him everything? He's just a rookie or just finished his rookie season, you know?
Exactly. I hope the kid the best, man, but we've seen how many quarterbacks have we seen come in the rookie season and wham, bam, thank you, man. Then it's like next season, well, where the hell were you? Oh, right. You got to figure it out.
Exactly. I mean, while we're on the subject of Baker, I mean, really – yeah, let's talk about these quarterback ratings because Baker Mayfield, even though he's been somehow given the keys to the city of Cleveland, his quarterback rating from last season was not remarkable by any means. As a matter of fact, his QBR was one of the lowest and was even mentioned in an article on ESPN on how the worst quarterbacks of the last season needed to improve. Now, Baker Mayfield made the list, but he was not the worst quarterback as far as QBRs of last season. No,
he was
the worst quarterback
with a robot.
Well, the worst quarterback claimed when he was drafted that 9 teams made a mistake in not drafting him.
9.
It's clear and obvious that even the 10th team made a mistake. But I think that mistake was actually in the other direction because they actually drafted him in Josh Rosen. Now, Josh Rosen had a QBR of 25.9. I feel like a civilian off the street who may have played quarterback once in middle school could get you close to a 25.9.
John, damn. Damn, dude. It's like his first time throwing or something, man. 25 right now, dude.
Come on, Duke. 25.9? That's horrible.
He did have Larry Fitzgerald. So how can you suck that bad with Larry Fitzgerald?
Exactly. That man's hands are nearly glue. I mean, just even if you're giving him a 5-yard route, he'll probably catch. I mean, that's what's even worse. Is if you go back and see some of the catches that Larry Fitzgerald made this past season for Josh Rosen, that QBR should be even lower. It probably should be closer to like 12.8. Like, that's how bad of a quarterback he is. Talking about 9 teams made a mistake. Those 9 teams were extremely smart in not picking you. I mean, one of those teams, actually literally all of those teams have their quarterback on this list of the worst QBR quarterbacks, but he is the worst, and that's pathetic.
It is, man. Rosen,
yeah. Rosen was the worst. Now, right after that, I believe is a man who really has no excuse for even being on this list in the first place because he's been in the league for so damn long. 7 seasons of being in the NFL is Ryan Tannehill coming in at 35.4. Now, in his defense, he does not have a Larry Fitzgerald. He does not have any top-tier wide receivers to throw to.
Landry.
Okay, he does not have any top-tier wide receivers to throw to. I didn't stutter. But he should still be throwing him with a better rating than that. Now,
he's been in the league for 9 years.
Miami, but they've been allowing this for this long, so who knows?
He tore his ACL one year, came back from injury. He is kind of like a worse version of Alex Smith. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he wouldn't be on this list if he didn't break his leg. He also had a terrible QBR.
Dude, he ain't coming back. I don't think he's coming back next year. I think they're trying to find a new QB in Washington. But then you got your boy, Lamar. He was at 45.1 after that.
Well, you know, we didn't really delve too much into the Tannehill situation there.
Oh, we can whip him a new asshole. Yeah, he sucks. He's
Well,
like, you got Adam Gase, so-called a QB whisperer.
well,
now.
you were like trying to say like, you know, he wasn't the same after the ACL, but I'm just saying, you know, if he's not the same, then why do you keep using him? Why are they still
Because
trotting him out there?
man. It's not about it's not about the coaching, man. It's about your fucking owner, and they accept mediocrity. How Adam Gase, who's going to keep Tannehill, man. I think he can bring the best out of the boy because the boy scores garbage time, cute touchdowns, man.
He doesn't even score as many garbage time touchdowns as Blake Bortles does. And Blake Bortles is definitely on this list as well. But, like, Blake Bortles has better garbage time than Ryan Tannehill. You know, so if you're going to be talking about looking at, like, people's numbers during garbage time, like, Tannehill's garbage still isn't even that good of garbage. Like, it really just makes it so it looks like he had a mediocre game, and that's terrible. Next on the list is correct Lamar Jackson. He got a 45.1 in his quarterback rating. Now, granted, at the same time, a lot of his production was on the ground, and they're not going to give you a lot of, you know, QBR love for that. But still, his quarterback rating wasn't that great. But he got his team to the playoffs, so, I mean,
really? Dude, he got in playoffs because they haven't seen that shit before. He's fast. I'm afraid they're gonna fucking just break him because they just need to like teach the boy to throw, give him good sure hand receivers, and he's a leader, you know. But like, I'm afraid they're just gonna fucking run him. He's gonna get hurt or some shit like that, you know, because he's a big boy gonna take a big hit one day.
Well, look,
I don't like that coaching staff anyway. They need to just clean house for that trash.
They're not going to clean house of a coaching staff that got them to the playoffs again. And the Ravens are always in the mix, dude. They're always in the mix. I mean, it's rare to think of a year where the Ravens were just so bad they weren't even talking about them midway through the season. Like, they might not make it to the playoffs, but they're in the mix. They're not like some team like the Browns where you're like, well, we've already written them off well before the season even started. You know, like the Ravens, even though they don't say they're a top team each year, they know they have the ability to be a top team. So I'll say this, man. I think more is going to happen for Lamar Jackson just because it was his rookie year. And he didn't even get to start the whole season. You know, he got a chance to get into it a little later due to the fact that Joe Flacco's not very good.
Oh, well, that should be count for too, how many games you played, which actually kind of makes it worse. Never mind. I was trying to put a bright side on it. Never mind.
No. I mean, they're doing it based on, like, you know, what you produced throughout the season. So what he did do was just good enough, but it wasn't great. But next on the list is somebody that we always have known is not very good. As a matter of fact, he has been a running joke on a popular NBC television show called The Good Place, Mr. Blake Bortles. Now, Blake Bortles' quarterback rating was 45.8. To be honest with you, I thought that's still a little high, but he at least made, because the way they behaved this year by like just benching him so quickly, I thought his QBR would be worse than this. I'm actually surprised, but it's probably garbage time. If we're going to be honest, he probably, you know, as he does, slips out enough garbage time touchdowns to make himself look better, but his quarterback rating isn't the worst on this list. But it sure as hell ain't the best in the NFL.
And I've always been preaching this because I see him twice here, and God, he's horrible, man. Like, they just, like, down in Jacksonville, man, they love them subliminals, man. I don't know why, but
well, that's why. What's his name? Didn't say anything about him. What was the cornerback's name? Was
Ramsey.
Yeah. That's why, you know, when they were like, well, what about your quarterback? You know, he didn't have nothing to say because, you know, he was a very honest man. When he was assessing quarterbacks and saying who they were and what they were, he was very honest, and he was pretty accurate with everything he said. Now, would he have said Blake Bortles was garbage? Yes. If he played for the Washington Redskins, he would have been like, that is a terrible quarterback. But you're not going to say it about the quarterback that is on your team. But this is why he kept his mouth shut, because he knew this quarterback was bad. And again, it shows with the rating. Do you have any kind words to say about Blake Bortles before we move on?
See someone in the league next year. So I guess Jacksonville can rebuild. No, I hate them, the division rivals. So screw them. Moving on.
All right. Next, we've got up there a guy who will not be starting for the Denver Broncos, we assume, because they brought in Joe Flacco. Case Keenum. Case Keenum had a QBR of 46.9. This was his 8th season in the NFL. And
what season was that?
Eighth season.
Case Keenum?
Yeah, he's had 8
league for 8 fucking seasons.
8 fucking seasons, that's correct. And surprisingly, he is one of the top paid quarterbacks on this list, only to be beaten by Tannehill, who gets paid just a little bit more than Case Keenum. But, man, have they swung and missed over there in Denver. And they're going to continue to probably swing and miss because they just picked up Joe Flacco.
Well, Flacco's got like maybe a half a season left in his tank. I don't know. I mean,
no matter what, Flacco won't be on this list. You know what I'm saying? Like his QBR, even though it's never really like the best, it isn't like this bad. You know, like this past season for what he did do, I mean, he was just barely above your boy and Marcus Mariota. We'll talk about that a little later. Next on the list, though, after Case Keenum and the problems in Denver, we have a quarterback that also just got into the league, so we're going to kind of give him a little pass with Sam Darnold. He had a 48.4 QBR. Now, again, he doesn't have a lot of major receivers up in New York, but, man, that's still not great.
No, it's horrible. I mean, it's the Jets, so, I mean, that's all the Jets got. Hey, I mean, you go to the dumpster fire. That's why when Mariota went into the first year of Tennessee, a fucking dumpster fire. You know, you just get your fucking feet wet. I think there's that potential, but they're really going to have to support him again this year to see some numbers improve because that QBR is just not going to help this team win.
Now, I'm not sure if I'm remembering this right, but Darnold was the 3rd quarterback picked up in this draft, correct?
I believe so, because when one goes, then they all have to go.
Well, yeah, number 1 was Baker, number 2 was Josh Allen, number 3 was Sam Darnold, and then number 4 was Rosen, right? So it looks like basically with the top 3, the NFL was correct in the drafting orders basically on those QBRs. And we'll see that when we get a little further down here, but it's funny that they were completely wrong with the drafting orders of number 4 and 5 because the number 4 was clearly Lamar Jackson, and number 5, and probably shouldn't even have been drafted at all, was Josh Rosen. But still,
goodness, dude. Well, I gotta take that back though, man. He won't succeed because he's a USC quarterback. Sorry, Donald, you cursed, buddy. You ain't gonna see the Jets.
No, I mean that's not true, man. They had one amazing quarterback, and you don't know if that could happen again. Like, not every one of them is going to be great, granted, but Carson Palmer to this day is gonna be a Hall of Famer. There's no way he's not.
Dude, Carson Palmer, yeah, I'll give you that.
Yeah, and then if Mark Sanchez took another year, he could have probably been a great quarterback, and I still think he could be a great quarterback if he didn't have the butt fumble. You know, like I really think that somehow that completely changed everything for him, and he became the laughingstock of the NFL, and I don't think he's ever come back from that, to be honest with you, man. Like that just kind of really turned things around for him because on a national stage, everybody saw you make one of the biggest blunders. The butt fumble will always be known as Mark Sanchez.
The Mark Sanchez. I mean, let's see, Donald, Yeah. So moving on from him, he is a rookie. We'll see next year though. But,
All right. Well, next
guy,
on the list, we've got the guy who is the highest paid person on this list, getting paid $20 million. A veteran. Now, he has been in the league less than some of the other players. He's only had 5 seasons, but his brother was in the NFL. Good old Derek Carr coming in with a quarterback rating of 49 flat. Oof. Not the best.
You ain't hitting above 50, dude. Come on. What are you doing in the league?
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, you shouldn't be getting paid 20 mil if you can't even get to the 50 points of a QBR rating.
You gotta be careful though what we say, dude. He may challenge us to a fight, like he did with Stephen A. Smith.
Now, if he challenges me to a fight, dude, I would love it because I'll be like, let's do it, man. I will mess up your pretty boy face and I will fight dirty. I ain't got nothing to lose. You think I'm gonna come into the octagon and fight fair? Man, I have broken glass in my shoe or something. Like, I will figure out a way.
That was blood sport?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Man, I don't give a shit. That's a professional athlete on the other side. I ain't a professional athlete.
Hell no,
I'll
dude.
fuck him up, though, because I ain't going to be disrespected. So.
No, dude. You know what, Derek Carr, that's a challenge. You want to challenge Stephen A. Smith, man. We may not be as popular. We have as much fandom and hatred for you because you're going to the Jacksonville Jaguars next year, buddy.
I don't think he's even going to be allowed to start anywhere because no one's going to want to pick up the contract of somebody that shitty. Like,
they can negotiate.
If Chucky could get rid of him, I think he would have, dude. I don't think he can. No one's going to want. How is he trade bait? He's too expensive. You
can negotiate. I believe when you get traded, you can renegotiate the contract.
But why would Derek Carr want to renegotiate? Why is he going to be like, I want to get paid less money?
It's either get cut or get traded.
If he gets cut, he's got guaranteed money. So cut him. He can get guaranteed money and then go to another team and get paid whatever he wants to get paid. So, there's no reason for him to leave. He's getting paid out the ass.
Well, my thing is that Kylie Murray is going to be a Raider next year.
There's no way. There's a better chance of him being a Giant because they could pick him up and have the facade of, well, Eli is going to teach him how to be a better quarterback. Eli couldn't teach a dog how to eat out of a dog dish. Something that is a natural thing for a dog to do. Eli Manning can't help that.
Speaking of the 2-time Super Bowl champion of the world, Eli Manning, 51.6.
Well, he at least cleared 50, so he's probably got a better QBR than his father did his whole career.
With OJ. And Saquon and Barkley.
Well, yeah, exactly. He had Barkley, he had OBJ, and if we're going to even be honest, there's still some pretty good receivers on that field. He has probably one of the best tight ends in the game too. So really there's no excuse for Eli Manning, who's apparently a great quarterback, to have such a poor QBR. The team itself, they were as close to a dumpster fire as you could be. Like, they would have been a joke if it wasn't for how hard Barkley was playing out there, and for the fact that even the Cardinals looked even worse than the Giants. The Cardinals were just so bad that it made it okay for the Giants to be bad, and people just talked about it, but it wasn't like they were the worst team because the Cardinals still were so bad. But,
so bad.
Yeah.
Manning, he's done. One is the QB above him was a QB that got called trash by Ramsey. Well, I kind of got to agree, buddy. 52.2 for Josh Allen, dude.
You know what? And that's not great, but I'll tell you this, man. He's pretty good as far as, overall QB ratings are concerned, because, like, if we're going to look at it, if you were in the 50 range at all, you're in the lower half of the NFL. But if you can just get to 60, you're in the top half of the NFL. So for a guy whose first year in the NFL to have one that is 8 points away, 7.8 points away to be exact, from being in the top half of the whole NFL, that's not really that bad. He is trash, but what does this trash have to work with? I mean, this is Buffalo, first off. It's 4 degrees on a beautiful day. Like that, he's lucky to have 4 degrees outside for a home game. Secondly, dude, nobody wants to play in Buffalo, so it's hard for him to have any talent to work with. I think it's not bad for his first year. And the only other quarterback on this list that was a first-year guy is the guy who's just above him with Baker Mayfield at 53.6. And you know what? I'd say for a first-year quarterback, anything above 50, I think is great. I mean, you're a rookie, and your QBR is close enough to be in the top half of the league. I would give these two guys a pass. I think they just put them on the list just to be spiteful to these poor little guys. But
don't pass to Eli.
Well, no pass at all to Eli, man. He's won 2 Super Bowls. No. He is absolutely no pass. He's been in the league for 15 seasons. 15 seasons. There is no excuse for having a QBR rating that low. No, not at all. Especially when you have a bunch of talent around you. You got to be ashamed of yourself. But Baker Mayfield, his being, almost 55, whatever, I'm fine with that. He took his team to a nearly winning season. I mean, 7-8-1 is pretty much 500, about as close to 500 as you could be. And it's been much better than the Browns have been in a long, long time. So I can't hate on Baker Mayfield's numbers. I mean, they aren't the best, and they sure aren't the worst. I mean, they're definitely no Josh Rosen. But we can also talk about those who are the best on that list. But we should probably do that when we come back from a quick break, everybody. So we're going to leave you for a few minutes. This, again, is the Ricky Williams trilogy. Again, we're short the moose, but you're here with Duke and Be Eazy. We'll be back in a minute.
Oh, you're being ridiculous. He's a professional football player.
No, look, I'm not talking about killing the guy. I'm just talking about going up there with a group of dudes and intimidate him, maybe break his arm.
You can't break Tom Brady's arm.
Oh, yes, I can. No more Super Bowls for that pretty boy.
Listen.
Holy crap. I don't know who the hell we think we are when we do something like that.
The Rock is something you're not undisputed champion, so shut up, bitch.
Listen, let me tell you something with absolute honesty and concern for your well-being. Tom Brady would kick your ass.
That's bullshit. I'll say it again. It's bullshit. That's bullshit. It's bullshit.
Cannot win with him. Cannot coach with him. Can't do it. I want winners. I want people that want to win.
Playoffs? What are you talking about? Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
First of all, that's disrespectful.
I'm thrilled to be part of this organization, and
this is one of these organizations where nobody ever leaves. The same people are here when I was here. The only ones that aren't here are ones that died.
So The Rock says, roll the footage.
Shows how ignorant I am, but I don't give a...
All right, welcome back to the Ricky Williams trilogy, everybody. This is Jon, Be Eazy, Durnell, of course, with the Duke. Unfortunately, we are short the moose here today. He won't be chiming in. He'll be back with us next week, though. Don't worry about that. But we're coming back, and we're going to continue our talk about football, but we're going to switch gears just a little bit and talk about Kyler Murray, who's going to be making his way into the NFL draft and has claimed that he's not going to go to the combine. He doesn't want to throw the ball around because I guess he doesn't want anybody to think less of him. It's bad enough, though, that he's only 5'8", I believe, and maybe 180 pounds soaking wet. So people are already not thinking high hopes of him as a quarterback in this league. He might have to go the route of Julian Edelman. But right now he is not I'm just saying, dude. And that's being real. That man's got an MVP in the Super Bowl, so, I mean, really, is it all that bad? But maybe he'll have to make a change, but he doesn't sound like he wants to, but he doesn't want to throw the ball, so people think less of him. Duke, what do you think about him not going to show up to throw the ball?
Fucking soft. Okay, I gotta say this. The combine is already soft. You know, they're out there in like little tight little spandex shorts, fucking with the fucking tight little shirts and shit, man. It looks more
Why
like
are you talking about their attire? What is that?
All I'm saying, man, is that it looks like it's like they're looking for horses, man, like grading actual meat, you know, like
well yeah, of course it is, dude. They're talking about measuring him. I mean, because that's what they do, and they're going to get in there with very detailed rulers. They're going to measure his hands because, you know, they say his hands are too small to be a quarterback. They're going to measure, you know, his height because they're like, man, you're only 5'8". You're not tall enough to be throwing the ball around. And they used to say that Lamar Jackson was too short and too small. That man's at least 6'2" and 200 pounds. This dude is not even that, you know?
Who said Lamar was too small?
They said that last year. They were saying that he didn't have the body type of an NFL quarterback. They were trying to slight him. They're like, he can't be one. He's too small. I mean, they were trying to slight him in every way. They did the same with Baker Mayfield. They were slighting both of them. And I'm like, these men are 6 feet tall. I mean, at least like they're not under 6 foot like this man is by quite a bit. So I don't understand how he thinks he's going to see over an offensive line at all. Now, apparently he was able to do it in Oklahoma, but I don't know exactly how tall that offensive line is versus how tall the average offensive line is in the NFL.
Now, I can understand. Okay, it's soft because you're just throwing like wide open passes to like men in shorts. Okay, this is like pitch and catch. Okay, so I can understand if he's having a pro day to like quote control the conditions, whatever. To say, let me throw to my guys on my home field, let my people measure me and shit like that. But just to like not throw at the combine, that's weak, man. Because you're hot, you're afraid of something. I don't care. You gotta go out there and fucking throw the damn ball. You're getting drafted first round, buddy. Okay, you go get your endorsements, you get your money. Just throw the damn ball. That's your job.
Hey, you know what? I don't care what the kid does because, to be honest with you, he already has a backup plan in baseball. So if he really doesn't like the situation that he's being thrown into in the NFL, you know, the Oakland A's, who aren't any good, are going to take that boy and just run with it, you know? I mean, he's already making a name for himself because, I mean, really, I think we discussed this already, that the reason why he's going to the NFL is because he can become an immediate household name. Well, he's already become a household name, and he hadn't even been drafted yet. So if he gets drafted and decides he doesn't want to go to the NFL and goes to baseball, people will still know the name Kyler Murray. They'll be like, oh, didn't he win that Heisman? He played for Oklahoma, and he was going to be in the draft, but then he wanted to be a quarterback, and they said no. And he was like, screw you, I'm going to play baseball. You know, like, people will remember that story if that's what happens. I'm not saying it is, but, you know, I could see why he's not going to do it. I think he's going to be a winner either way in this situation as far as PR is concerned.
Yeah, I see it. Speaking of, maybe Kyler Murray will be throwing to Antonio Brown in the future.
There's absolutely no way he's going to be throwing to Antonio Brown. Now, I mean, I know Antonio Brown is switching teams, but I just don't expect it to be like this perfect pairing of Kyler Murray and Antonio Brown on some team.
Who knows, man? Raiders would make it happen. But he gets on a treadmill today, buddy, on Instagram. Antonio Brown. He's jogging. He's saying, hey, I'm available. My team, if your team got money, guaranteed money, call me. We'll make it happen. And now he wants to be called Mr. Big Chest and not AB no more. Mr. Big Chest.
Well, I'm wondering why he wants to be called Mr. Big Chest, because he sure doesn't have the biggest chest of any man I've ever seen. Like, if The Rock said, yo, my new name is Mr. Big Chest, we'd be like, all right, Mr. Big Chest, that is who you are. Please don't hurt me. But no one's thinking that with Antonio Brown. No one's like, oh, yeah, that dude's got the most jacked man in the NFL. I've never thought that at all. I mean, do you think that about Antonio Brown?
No. I've always been in the department of you shouldn't name yourself nicknames. They're given to you because that's kind of the fun of the nickname. Hey, if your nickname is derogatory, fucking accept it, man. Run with it. Right? You call Fatty, hey, Fatty, yeah, I'm Fatty. What's up, man? You know what I mean? But like Mr. Big Chest, like how high were you? What are you talking about that? Like, do you like see like a Superman figure yourself, like smoking weed, like I'm Mr. Big Chest, man? I don't get it, dude.
No, I don't either. That one's a bit strange to me. I'm not exactly sure what that's a reference to.
Worst nickname I've ever heard in the league.
I mean, it sounds like it's one of the crappy bosses in the Dick Tracy movie. You know, like
yes, there you go.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Big Chest. It's like, and he would not have a flattering chest either. He would definitely not be like bulky big. He would be like, you put on some pounds there, big. But
it's like flat top because
exactly.
He's got a flat.
Yeah, that's literally it, man. That's the only reason these people had these names was because that's what they looked like. So that sounds like, again, a Dick Tracy villain. But, yeah, I mean, whatever Antonio Brown wants to call himself, I don't know why he wants to make himself look crazy before he puts himself out there on the market, but, I mean, that's up to him.
Hey,
but
he's doing it, man. He's looking crazy already, man. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, he's always been kind of a bit of a prima donna and, coming in fancy cars and having all these fancy jackets and coats and things of that nature coming to games. So he's always looked like a dandy man, but he's acting a bit strange right now when he wants people to want him. Not that people don't want him. He is easily one of the best wide receivers, but you shouldn't make it so that there's a reason why they don't want you. Like today, Manny Machado signed a $300 million baseball contract with the San Diego Padres to play baseball for 10 years in one of the best cities as far as the beauty is concerned, but in one of the worst baseball teams in MLB history. Like the Padres have not been good since Tony Gwynn, which is perfect though, because now, I mean, he could be the best thing that's happened to that team in a long, long time, but there's no other good players, so they're never going to be good.
That's my new team, man. Padres, man. Just accept loser.
You're going to ride the Padres now.
I'm going to ride it, dude.
Because they're willing to spend $300 million. You know what's so funny is their whole salary, I think it was a couple years back, was $60 million for the whole team, and $30 million were people who weren't even on the team. But now they're willing to pay a player $30 million a year, and that's just one of the players. Where are they getting this money? Drug cartel?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, they're close to the border.
Somebody's paying for it. That's what I mean. Like, they ask where the money's coming from, but, I mean, at least he ain't going to Red Sox or Yankees. I mean, there's hope.
Well, he's all about the money. If he went to the other teams, they weren't going to give him the money that he wanted. But he has clearly shown that he doesn't give a damn about the game of baseball. He's out there for a paycheck. He's like, this is work. This is for me to get my dollar bills, y'all. I can't believe a man who said to the press during postseason that he doesn't hustle. He got $300 million over 10 years. And he's like, I don't hustle. What the hell kind of shit is I don't hustle and you get $300 million? That's crazy.
I don't know, man. The Red Sox were going to offer him like $350 million with incentives and shit. So it's like, damn, dude. He just took, I guess he didn't want to be too show offy.
Oh, you mean the White Sox were going to give him that? Because the Red Sox couldn't afford it. It would have been the White Sox that would.
Yeah, it was the White Sox. I mean, I'm sorry if I said red, but yeah. Thing is, I'm going Padres. I'm out of that train. Fuck it. Why not? Even they can only go up, dude.
It's true. They've been so bad they can only go up. So they're going to finally be the best team in the city. And there's no other team to compete with anyway. So they're going to
city. That's like Probably one of the best places to see a baseball game, too.
No, dude, it is one of the best places to see a baseball game. Petco Park is beautiful. The city is beautiful. The traffic is bad, but that's most of Southern California.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you know, but other than that, man, like, I would love to be a Padres fan because they finally got something to be excited about with Manny Machado. Now, unfortunately, I feel like they're going to take it out on the fans, and the ticket prices are about to go up. But
yeah. But you know they're going to generate some money with the new jerseys coming in too. So
well,
when they print his shit, you know.
But you know the Padres have like 50 different jerseys. Do you know how many like different Manny Machado jerseys are going to be out there, man? I mean, because they have their military jerseys, they have their like retro Padre kind of jerseys, they have like the pinstripe one. I mean, they have their traditional blue. I mean, they have so many jerseys now that they're going to slap his name on. The marketing on that could be amazing. All they have to do is make the postseason once with him, and it's over.
What's up, man?
That's it. They got to put all their money in one season with him, and then just dump that team. Dump the rest of the team after you get that one trip to the postseason. Just be like, all y'all are fired except for Manny because he signed a long contract. But the rest of y'all need to get the hell out of here. Your service.
And we need to thank Manny out on the way out.
Yeah, thank him. Thank him for the fact that you don't have a job. But anyway, we need to get back to these QBRs, man, because we were harping on the ones that didn't do very well, but we should talk about those who did do well this season. I did kind of chime in a little bit on your boy.
No, let's just congratulate your boy right now.
No, we're not going straight to the top, man, because I got to slight Matthew Stafford before we get there.
Well,
now, I wanted to talk about your boy Marcus Mariota because he had a 55.6, and he actually was 19th overall, tied with Cam Newton. So, I mean, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised by those numbers, nor am I just like, you know, it's terrible. I mean, he's close to halfway as far as quarterbacks in the league, and he's always been a middle of the road quarterback as far as I was concerned. So it's kind of where I would assume he would end up.
Whoa. This year was a bad year, but his total QBR for his career is a lot higher.
Well, I mean, you can have good years and bad years. I mean, a lot of the quarterbacks on this list, I'm sure, have had good years and bad years. I mean, Eli Manning isn't always riding around in 51.6 land, I'm sure.
Yeah, but it always feels like he is, though, doesn't it? Yeah. I mean, even his 2 Super Bowl runs, it still feels like he does.
Well, he's had a few good years, but so I know Marcus isn't always around.
No, but the thing though is like people crap on Marcus all the time, right? But let's go back to your point. Marcus has had he took his team from a 2-win season to 3 9-7 seasons, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Matthew Stafford, whatever his name, Stafford, whatever.
Yeah, Matthew Stafford
gets a pass, dude, every year.
He gets a pass, and it's disgusting. This year, he was worse than your boy Marcus.
He had more talent.
He had more talent to throw to. And
wasn't injured.
Was not injured. He played the full season, and he barely had a QBR rating better than Baker Mayfield, who ESPN put on this list of quarterbacks who need to get better for next season.
No,
yet
but .2.
Yeah.
.2. That's like a half a pass, dude.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one incompletion away from being on that list, and Baker Mayfield apparently not being on the list, I guess. But for some reason, Matthew Stafford has been somehow given a pass and not been put on the list. Whereas if they did put him on the list, I think it would have actually made sense because they put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh no, they did the top 10. They did the top 10.
Top 11. You know?
They should have at least mentioned Matthew Stafford because my goodness, man, what is .2 really? And again, he has been in the league for quite a while now. There's really almost no excuse for his QBR rating to be so low. I mean, the man has been in the league now. Let's see.
9? Is it 9 years, I think?
I think it might be 9 seasons he has been in the league. He was drafted in 2009, so this will be his 10th season coming up here, yes. So he's been in the league for 9 seasons, and his QBR rating is barely better than a rookie.
That's shameful, man.
Actually, barely better than the class of rookies of last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's ridiculous. Like, the whole class of rookies pretty much were close to Matthew Stafford and his QBR rating.
I mean, it's sickening because, maybe it's because he plays in Detroit and people just kind of forget about him and say, oh, yeah, there's always.
But he got paid out, man. Like, they act like he's this elite quarterback, man. I mean, he got paid good money, and he does not look like he deserves good money.
In the defense of that, wasn't he like 75% of the offense or shit?
Well, yeah, man.
That's ridiculous because that shows how
also
bad.
Bring up the Calvin Johnson stuff too. You bring that in there but that was an amazing wide receiver that you were throwing to, padding your stats. Like I feel the same with Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan, if he wasn't throwing to Julio Jones, he'd probably be on that list too. But, like, he's higher up on the QBR rating because he has an amazing wide receiver to throw it to.
I know, man. Matt Ryan, it's just, like you said, man, just straight racism, man.
Matt Ryan his QBR rating is actually in the top 10. He rounds out the top 10 with other quarterbacks like Jared Goff, who is number 10. Matt Ryan's up there. Surprisingly, Jameis Winston, number 8, happens to be in the top 10 of QBR ratings, something they don't really go out of their way to mention.
Yeah, but he didn't play. How many games did he really play, though?
Well, he didn't play the first 4 because he was not allowed to. He also, I think, maybe missed 1 game due to some controversy between him and Fitzmagic. But then after that, it was all him because Fitzmagic just showed to be a dud as he always is. So then it was Jameis the rest of the way. And you know what? To have one of the top ratings in the league, it's really not all that bad. Right after Jameis Winston, we've got Phillip Rivers, and not making the top 5, your NFL Super Bowl champion for the 6th time, Tom Brady.
Didn't even make the top 5.
He did not make the top 5 as far as QBR ratings. Now, I'm still not going to say he's not the GOAT. I don't care what he does during the regular season. That man turns it on to another degree when it comes to the playoffs, man. So he's just like, I got to just do well enough to get my team in a position to win it. So.
Oh, man, dude. I know. Well, I mean, it's still amazing how old he is as he's still in the top 6. I mean, he's the only person who's almost just as old as Breeze and Big Ben, but, Big Ben's obviously raping people out there.
Jesus, no, just because Seamus or the Moose isn't here, you can't hear you just dropping that now. I still got to stop you.
That's what Antonio Brown called him too, man. I say props for Antonio Brown for calling him on his bullshit. But above Brady was Andrew Luck. I mean, he's always just consistent because he plays in a shit division sometimes.
Well, no, I mean your guy's also in that same.
Also, he plays in a dome just like Breeze.
Right.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
it is interesting. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
interesting that 2 of the top 5 are dome team quarterbacks. So that is interesting that you bring that up.
I mean, because let's see what Mahomes could do in a dome. Yeah, with no wind, no cold, nothing.
Right.
I mean, and then above Luck was Big Ben. Then, interestingly enough, man, kid had a good year, man. Trubisky.
Mitch Trubisky, yeah, I am surprised as hell too. I could not believe that guy has the number 3 QBR rating of the whole NFL this past season. But you know what? He didn't make a lot of mistakes. He avoided mistakes, and that really probably helped him out a lot. He also ran the ball quite a bit. Surprisingly, a lot for, the kind of quarterback everybody thought he was going to be. I mean, they kind of thought he was going to be kind of a pocket passer that might move around a little bit, kind of like a Ben Roethlisberger, maybe. I don't know, but he's become more agile than anyone expected.
Yeah, I was really shocked by him. I thought he was going to have a sophomore slump, but they gave him to coaching staff and a great offensive coordinator. Could take raw talent, cover their mistakes. I mean, I think
it's true. They do have a great offensive staff up there in Chicago, and I think that's what really helps him a lot. They've taught him not to make mistakes.
I mean, they cover his mistakes too, and cover his flaws by running right schemes, getting the people where they need to be, having veterans lead them. And that's what you need in a young QB. I mean, that's what Belichick did with Brady all those years. I mean, I know Moose, if he was here, would be like, oh, Brady was great from the very beginning. It's like, no, he wasn't. He learned how to be great,
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Trubinsky's doing that. Then you got Breeze that, got screwed out of the Super Bowl, getting beat by Brady.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Would have been more of an interesting Super Bowl, at least.
It would have, dude. I'm not saying that the Saints would have won, but it would have been something better to watch.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I love a good defensive game, but man, dude, the Rams just shit up bad, dude. And I don't see Jared Goff on here on the top 10. I mean,
no, he is. He is in the top 10. He's number 10. He made the list at number 10.
Oh, okay. So he is number 10.
Yeah, he barely beat out Russell Wilson, but yeah, Jared Goff made number 10 in the top 10 QBR ratings, right behind Matt Ryan. But our number one, he was a number one in my heart, and I'm really considering buying his jersey here, but not his Chiefs jersey because I'm still upset with the team. But I am going to buy his Pro Bowl jersey, Patrick Mahomes.
I'm still upset with the team, man. That is awesome, man. That is true fandom right there.
Well, I mean, I will be real, man. Like, there are things that happen within that organization that tick me off. Like, I mean, the firing of the defensive coordinator. It's like, you think that's the only problem we had? Who was also ahead of this defensive coordinator? Who thought that it was okay to give Tom Brady the ball back? Andy freaking Reid. You know what I'm saying? So, like, no, Andy Reid should also be brought in there for questioning if that man's getting fired, But either way, I'm just saying he wasn't only at fault. I'm not saying that people needed to be fired, but he gave us some pretty good years as a defensive coordinator before he did get fired. So, but either way, I digress. I'm happy for Patrick Mahomes being number one. He threw some amazing passes, again, no-look passes. He did a lot, and I'm happy to see what happens next year. I mean, he might get that sophomore slump, but I don't know. I think he might actually do pretty well. I think he could – I mean, the way he was throwing the ball this past year, I think he's going to still be able to throw it well. He might have a few more mistakes. I feel like his interceptions might go up a little bit, but I think he's still going to have a good year.
I mean, here's the thing. He's going to get figured out. It's just, like I say, when I watched Mario develop, I knew he's going to have rough. It really just depends on how he handles it. I think Mahomes – he could do it. I think he's going to be mature enough to be like, okay, he's not going to get frustrated and be like a little baby and snowflake and quit. Like, it's getting too hard, Like, I think he's really just going to adapt. He may have like 20, 25 touchdowns next year. It ain't going to be 50, but he's a contender, man.
I think he's still going to be in the mid to high 30s, dude. Like, I think he's going to still throw that ball around. He doesn't know anything else.
I see the interceptions going up. That's about it.
No, I said that. No, the interceptions are going up, but he's still chucking a bunch of touchdowns.
You got yourself a Brett Favre, man. So he's gonna die by the gunslinger, man. Because kids think he can do anything. Eventually, he's gonna figure out he can't. But yeah, it's like, how will he grow from that? I think he's gonna do a good job with it. You got your franchise QB. That's just the best news you can have out there, buddy. You got your franchise QB.
That's why I'm getting his jersey. But again, not the Chiefs.
Not the Chiefs. Pro Bowl jersey, man.
Yeah, dude.
Pro Bowl. Speaking of a Pro Bowler and a Hall of Famer, my friend,
Well, he's not a Hall of Famer. And
I'm sorry. His NFL can't recognize his greatness. But he is a Hall of Famer. I can't tell a game of football without him. Bo Jackson, my friend. 30 years, dude.
30 years ago, yeah, Bo was taking over the world with Bo knowing things.
Dude, how? I think that people just don't remember how great he really was.
Well, it's because he didn't get a full chance in the NFL or in baseball. The injury that he had to his hip, really changed the game for him because he could not play either game anymore, at least not at the level he was playing it at. I mean, his first years with the Raiders, he's putting up pretty good numbers, especially because, he wasn't playing every game because he was still playing baseball, So, that's half the reason why he was never going to become like a Hall of Famer is because his numbers were never for a full season. I mean, his first year he played in 7 games, then he played in 10 games, 11 games, then 10 games. So, it basically just depended on how many games he was playing in baseball, because he knew that if he came in the second half of the season for the NFL, if the Raiders had a chance at the playoffs, they had a very good chance of winning it all because they had, Bo Jackson. So
Also, tell you, man, if anybody out there has not seen the 30 for 30 documentary on him, one of the most amazing pieces of entertainment I've ever seen. You look like we just forget how good he really was. Just natural country strong, man. He didn't practice. He went from he didn't go to a training camp. He went straight from baseball to football and acted like he was playing all season. Just pure athletic country Alabama strong.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, the injury, as unfortunate as it was, it didn't really completely stop him. He went and played baseball.
But it wasn't even that bad of an injury to the normal man. That's what makes him so.
Oh, I've lost you there. Oh no, can't hear you. You're mute.
Okay, my bad. Technical difficulties. I'll wipe that out. But
anyway, you were saying Bo Jackson was important.
Do you remember when he ran over the draws in Seattle? That was.
That poor guy was on steroids, man, and the steroids weren't working anymore for him. But yes, I do recall when he trucked him down for the touchdown. But
and then when he ran through the dome, through the tunnel, you know why he was running through the tunnel? Because he was running so fucking fast. He had to actually slow down, dude.
Well, that's why he ran across the wall in baseball. He was going so fast to catch that ball that he had to basically start to run on the wall to slow him down and, so he could catch his balance. Because if he just rammed right into the wall, he would have broken probably his shoulder in 50 different places. That's how fast and how hard he would go.
Dude. If you go back and watch the clips of him, it's just amazing. The throw from the warning track to home plate, and the man was out. Just legendary. And it's the dude was running fast. He was hustling it. He was routing third, just booking it, man. And just Bo just snaps it. And it's does he have the ball? He's out. Now in the documentary too, the man, I think it was the owners, the guy, the GM at the time, he saw Babe Ruth play baseball. And he said that when Bo hit the ball, he made it sound just like Babe Ruth, dude. That's how great of a baseball player he was. Hall of Famer, dude. Hall of Famer. But
again, he won't ever get into the Hall of Fame in either sport, but it looked like he might have. Now, because, again, he did play baseball more, and baseball was basically his number one sport. So, he made it to an all-star game. I believe he was also an all-star MVP one year. He was up for, the MVP, I think, that same year as well. It might have been a different year. I don't know. Yeah, he was up for the MVP that year too. So he had a great year in 1989, and then again in 1990, I believe that's when he had that tragic injury, and that that really derailed his career. Also, I don't think the baseball strike didn't help. It didn't help anything either. Like, he lost a full year of baseball basically. And then he didn't have football then either. So the man really. It's kind of hard to bounce back from not having any kind of sports at all to just being, an amazing athlete again. Now, he did also have another good year later on in his career, but, he never really got a chance to be, the great player he could have been.
He is so he's so legendary that when you played Tecmo Bowl back in the day and you picked Bo Jackson, it was like cheating because you couldn't stop him every time, man. Touchdown. Hey, man, you can't beat the Raiders, man. Oh, no, man. That's cheating, man.
Well, because you could literally run to the other end zone and then run around all of the players, and they couldn't catch you, and then run back to your end zone for a touchdown. It was disgusting what you could do with Bo Jackson because you would just be so much faster because the rest of the team would be chasing after you, and you would just run, and they could never catch you, and then you would just run around them and just run all the way back.
Well, way back, man. You're just rubbing it in, man. Just rubbing it in, dude. You can't touch Bo, man.
Yeah.
Damn powerful, dude.
Yeah,
and he's the only professional athlete, too, to play on a full hip replacement.
Yeah.
So when he had his injury, dude, had to get a full replacement hip. That was just titanium down there, and he still was playing baseball like it was nothing.
He was a beast, man. He played the game hard.
I just think people forget how. He would just break bats over his head, over his knee, and it nothing, dude. He did strike out quite a bit, but he was a damn good dude. He helped Nike. He's probably the only second to Jordan with Nike. As recognizable people because Bo knows.
Of that era, of course. Later on, you've got other people like Kobe Bryant. He's quite recognizable, and Shaquille O'Neal. Oh wait, no, he was Reebok, so I guess that's not even gonna work. Shaq for Reebok was amazing because man, like nobody wears Reebok anymore. But when they did, it was because of Shaq. That's for damn sure.
It is he ran for 950 yards in 1990, dude. After he played baseball.
Yeah, he didn't play the full season.
That's just nuts, man. He had the longest NFL run. He hit more home runs than any other season in his career. He had a home run in his first inning of the All-Star game. And he was the centerpiece of the biggest sports campaign with Nike. Bo truly took over the world, man. He was special, dude. And he just seems like a fun guy to hang out with, too, dude. Yeah. He's 56, dude. I bet you still can fucking just truck us, man.
I'm sure he could. Why would I? Neither one of us are in shape enough to take down Bo Jackson.
You give us three, man. The trilogy, all right? Okay. You, me, and the Moose, man. Okay?
Well,
wow.
Maybe.
No, I don't think we can do that.
The Moose and I will have to do probably most of the work. You just try to get him.
I come in and do some cleanup, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I tap these down there.
I don't know if you'd make a clean tackle, man. I think we're just going to have to be on me and Seamus.
Clean tackle, dude. Hey, I don't play dirty, man. Okay? I just play hard. Okay?
All right.
There ain't no rules. You got to keep your head on a swivel, my friend. You got to keep your head. Speaking of being on a swivel, it was good. It was a good show this week, my friend.
It was a good show. It was a good show, though. Before we leave, though, I would like to take time to remember Don Newcomb, who did pass away here today.
Yes, please tell them about this. Don Newcomb needs to be recognized. Yes, tell him.
92 years old. He played baseball for the Brooklyn Dodgers, was the very first African-American to win the Cy Young. As a matter of fact, he was the very first Cy Young Award winner, period. Also won the MVP that year. Man went to many World Series championships, won it in 1955 with the Boys of Summer, including Jackie Robinson. He was the Rookie of the Year as well. So, again, Don Newcombe did a lot. Not sure if he's ever going to make it into the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
numbers aren't quite that of Hall of Fame status, but they're really close. They're really close. I mean, you can argue both ways with him. He's really on the line. Maybe one day he'll get it in the legendary. When they vote in the legends, those who've been around for quite a while. Speaking of being around for quite a while, he played in the Negro Leagues along with Jackie Robinson, and the fact that there was still somebody around who played in the Negro Leagues was pretty amazing. So
knew Jackie Robinson and hung out with him. Shit.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, they were on the same team. They played together. I think Newcombe came into the league just like 2 years after Jackie Robinson. I think it was. So.
How old was he? 92.
92 years old. Yeah.
Damn, dude. 92. Wow. Amazing. And rest in peace, buddy. We need more people like him because we got too many damn snowflakes out there, man. He was too many puppy dogs, man. And he was, I mean, that dude, like you said, he went to war. He served our country. And they came back to win a Cy Young.
Yeah, he went to war and still played ball, man. So, it's amazing what you can do.
He killed some Nazis and they came back. He killed 50 men, like Cottonham, man. Cottonham.
I don't know how many. I never asked.
Oh, should have, man. Hey, so how many people do you think you took out it? Oh, hard to say, but at least 200, 300 people. Damn.
Wow. Dang. And he was like, oh, I thought you meant like throwing the fastball at their head.
Back before helmets, man. We didn't need no helmets, man.
I think he still played in the time of helmets, but not the helmets we have today.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I don't think. Maybe they didn't have. No, I don't think they had any helmets in that time period.
No, not until like what? I thought it was like the 40s or 50s, man.
Like, well, no. Yeah, he played in late 40s, in the 50s. Like, I'm trying to remember when. Gosh, look it up. When did they bring helmets into baseball? Now we got to find that out, because we can't leave on a note where we don't even know, like, what the subject matter is that we're talking about. Because that's just pitiful. We're like, yeah, baseball helmets. No one was wearing them. Wait, when did they happen?
The first known to use batting helmets in the majors was by the 1941 Brooklyn Dodgers.
Oh, look at them trying to save their heads. So, all right. So there
I think because like a couple people died.
Oh, no, people definitely did die before. Yeah. So, all right. So the 41 Brooklyn Dodgers. So he would have been wearing a helmet. So Don Newcombe would have been on teams wearing batting helmets. So
yeah, but he wouldn't have been in the Negro Leagues wearing a helmet.
Well, no, not at all. not in that league. But when he got to the majors, they're definitely going to be wearing some helmets there.
Good times. Well, where can people find us, buddy?
Well, people can find us on many different forms of social media. One of those forms can be Instagram at don't put the at all on it, but at RW Trilogy Podcast. So you can find us on Instagram. Also, you can find us at the Ricky Williams Trilogy on Facebook. Also, we are on Twitter. What's the Twitter handle again there, Duke?
RW Trilogy.
That's right. Yes.
RW Trilogy.
Right. So those are the different places you can find us. Also, here soon, Duke and I are going to have our own podcast called Money Mouth. So look out for that, where we're going to be talking strictly gambling. And we're going to have to put our money where our mouth is, and we might be poor at the very end of this. So we'll see.
Man. Two heads are better than one when it comes to gambling, right?
Well, it's true. But I also read this article about how this NBA ref was putting the fix on a bunch of games. So I think I'm going to put together a nice Excel chart based on refs and which games they referee and the spread is covered. And then we might just follow those refs, and that might just be how we make some money. But
hell yeah, because they're putting money on those games too. So
yeah, dude. There's got to be more corrupt refs and umpires and stuff out there. Like they're not going to hit every time, but they'll at least hit about 75%, and that's enough to be a winner in gambling. That's for sure.
Just enough, so nobody asks questions.
There you go. That's right. All right. Well, this was yet another episode of the Ricky Williams Trilogy. I hope you all learned something here today while you were hanging out with Eazy and the Duke. Next week, we'll have the Moose back with us. But again, check us out on social media. Check us out every week with more fun podcasts about sports. Go Chiefs.
Go Titans.